As Eternals makes its way to cinemas, a number of countries have opted not to screen the film after Disney refused to censor and omit scenes featuring a same-sex couple. Phastos, one of the Eternals, played by Brian Tyree Henry, is the first openly gay Marvel hero on the big screen. And while this is a major step towards representation, I can't help but feel we've been here before with Disney. They've constantly touted their first gay character in a number of recent films, but have failed to provide solid representation until now. Disney has a checkered past when it comes to queer representation, so let's have a look back at Disney's queer representation over the past few years. During the height of the Disney animated renaissance, characters like Scar, Jafar, and Governor Ratcliffe were criticised for being queer-coded and villainised, possessing flamboyant and extravagant personalities. While not explicitly queer, some critics see this as painting gay characters in a negative light. Jump forward to 2017's remake of Beauty and the Beast, and Josh Gad's LeFou was revealed by the film's director to be a gay man. Director Bill Condon even went as far as to say the film featured Disney's first exclusively queer moment, and LeFou was portrayed as gay as a tribute to original lyricist Howard Ashman. Uproar spread across the internet, and a number of cinemas across the world and even in America boycotted the film, as it went against their family values. The film arrived and audiences waited with bated breath for this exclusively queer moment, and that's all it was. A moment. Blink and you miss it as LeFou dances with the man for a split second. LeFou is portrayed as camp and somewhat in love with Gaston, but he never explicitly says he's gay and is a minor player in the film to begin with. Audiences, myself included, couldn't help but feel that Disney had jumped the gun and overpromised something that, while a touching tribute, the film was not really interested in LeFou's story. 2 years later, and an exclusively gay moment once again appeared in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Another blink and you miss it shot of two women kissing, which was edited out in a number of countries. I can't help but feel that Disney is somewhat virtue signalling, patting themselves on the back for including gay characters and moments, but not fully committing and making these moments so small that they are inconsequential to the film. In 2020, headlines and tweets were now filled with the news that Pixar's Onward would include an openly gay character. The character in question, Officer Spectre, voiced by Lena Waithe, appears in less than 5 scenes, has minimal dialogue, but at one stage does mention her wife, so technically a step up from LeFou as she addresses her sexuality. Again, Disney built up hype around inclusivity and representation, but failed to provide anything beyond a minor cameo. 2021 saw Cruella arrive on Disney Plus and in cinemas, and in a familiar setup, John McCrea's Artie was once again called Disney's first openly gay character. In a similar way to LeFou, besides being camp and effeminate, he never addresses his sexuality, he's never shown engaging in queer romantic relationships, and once again is not a major player in the grand scheme of the film. Later in 2021, Jungle Cruise also arrived in cinemas and on Disney Plus, and featured the character of McGregor, played by Jack Whitehall. McGregor was imbued with all the camp stereotypes seen in characters like LeFou and Artie, but McGregor was a step in the right direction, actually having a touching moment in which he addresses his sexuality. However, he skirts around the word gay in a possible attempt to appeal to mass audiences, and again it feels like Disney is scared to fully commit to queer representation. The character was also largely omitted from the marketing campaign, and Disney received criticism for casting straight actor Jack Whitehall, so while a positive addition, the inclusion was still afraid to go all the way and move beyond stereotypes. Overall, in my opinion, Disney is failing to deliver on their promises of gay representation. On the small screen, they've given us Seven Carlos in High School Musical, the musical The Series, Cyrus and Andy Mack, and the hint of gay superhero Wiccan in WandaVision, among a few others. But this representation needs to transfer to the big screen. It is not enough to include gay characters as token pieces. Disney needs to start telling their stories, creating three-dimensional and complex queer characters who appear in more than a handful of scenes. It's 2021. Give us a queer princess. Fans have long petitioned for Elsa to have a girlfriend, but Disney has failed to deliver. It's a shame that some countries refuse to show Disney films with queer characters, but it is refreshing to see Disney is standing their ground with Eternals. Disney is such a huge part of our cultural lexicon that it has the power to shape perceptions and educate children. The Disney films we grew up on shaped our ideas of love, so Disney has a responsibility to be more inclusive. Hopefully over the next few years we won't still be hearing about Disney's first gay characters, and queer characters will become commonplace. Until then, I guess we'll have to make do with baby steps.